Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is MC and make videos and blogs for international students who want to study, settle, and explore the opportunities here in Canada. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you hit that red button below and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos that I upload every single week. So in today's video, it's going to be the continuation of our video series about study plan slash statement of purpose or SOP. So this document is not mandatory, but it's always recommended to include that to your study permit application because this will back up your application if you want to communicate something to the visa immigration, then this is the great way to do that. So if you haven't watched the first two videos about study plan, I would highly suggest to go back to those videos first, watch that first before moving on to this video because you will miss that flow of the study plan. So this video will be the last part of the study plan. We're going to talk about finances, your plan after study, which is very important, and then home ties, and lastly will be the closing remarks of the study plan. So at the end of the video, we're going to answer some questions posted by SLE member which were covered in our video series. Okay, I'm going to try to answer those questions at the end of the video, but before anything else, I want you guys to join the SLE Student Lounge. It's a mentorship group that I'm conducting right now, and if you're interested, you can just check the description box for more information. Without further ado, let's move on to our topic for today.
And clear.
Mhm.
Now would be the fonts. Okay. So there are like a lot of people got refusal comes to your fund. It's either it's
Mhm.
you're lucking or they will I think I saw some SOPs that they have a lot of sponsors but they don't even have their own bank account.
Yeah, they don't have their own bank account and they don't have their own money.
Yeah.
So, based on our first video, we mentioned you guys, if you still don't have the means, don't push it yet.
Yes.
Because if you will be refused because of your proof of funds, you have just wasted your time. You have just wasted your money for the application, and you just put yourself into a great frustration.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
patience is a virtue. Mag-ipon,
Mhm.
save money. So don't push yourself to go to Canada if you still don't have the means.
Mhm.
So let's break down the elements of the proof of funds.
Yeah, what
Because
will
the
be
proof of
like the
funds,
scenarios,
yeah.
for your OFW or overseas Filipino workers, it's always good to include your employment certificate and stuff and tell them how much you're earning
Mhm.
and how many
So I
years have
think
you been working and saving.
true. So um I think you already mentioned this on your previous video,
Video,
the
yeah.
proof of income and proof of funds. So you guys can check on that video. And
Yeah, but what if there is someone who can sponsor her, let's say? How would you explain that? You don't have the bank
I
account, but you have a
so
sponsor.
so when it comes to proof of funds, the more the better. I mean, like the more documents you can submit to back up your proof of funds and to explain your proof of funds, the better. They say
Mm-hmm.
that less is more, yes, but not in the proof of funds,
Mm-hmm.
because that would be your ticket to that is like halfway, you're halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
If you have like good enough, like more than enough
Mm-hmm.
funds. You're already halfway there to approval. You just need to push a little further for other things because that would give the visa officer the impression that, oh, this candidate can be sustainable once he's here in Canada. He won't be a burden to the economy. He
Mm-hmm.
will not rely to the 20 hours just to pay for the tuition,
Mm-hmm.
because 20 hours is not enough to pay your tuition, guys.
I have something about that. The 20
Yeah.
hour. I saw an SOP. So they break down the expenses and the source of income. and they included the part-time jobs that they're going to get here. Don't include
Don't,
that.
don't include that.
Because part-time
So,
job is it's it's not there yet, right? You cannot include that in your SOP
mhm,
because you don't have the job yet, right?
true. It is just a privilege, guys. It's not a absolute um, source of income. So the impression in the proof of funds is that the visa officer should see that you have the funds for 1 year without relying on the 20 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So in my case, I stated there that in my proof of funds, I didn't actually use the proof of funds, but the power, what did I use there? The purchasing power. I actually used the word purchasing power. I
Mm-hmm.
told them that personally, I consider myself as a financially independent person with a
Mm-hmm.
good purchasing power
Mm-hmm.
based on my what you call this, based on my spending, my saving. I am a personally I'm a financially independent person. And if you can see on the document attached, because the school, once they give you the letter of acceptance, they will also give you a projected
Mm-hmm.
expenses for the
Expenses.
year. So like in my case, Centennial College provided me a second page for the projected expenses in 1 year program. So I used that as my point of reference in explaining that since the school had provided me with this projected expenses, I look into my funds and I
Mm-hmm.
saw that I have this, plus I have this asset that I can liquidate right
Mm-hmm.
away,
Mm-hmm.
plus I have this much,
Mm-hmm.
plus I have this blah blah blah. Your tuition is already well taken care of, and then that your cost of living is already also taken care of.
Yeah.
That you
But
all
they
have
still need to see the money. Okay? They
that
still
they
need to
see
see
that,
the
yeah.
money in your bank account that you have.
Hmm.
I will have the link below on how
Hmm.
much cost of living per person
Hmm.
or per family.
True.
Like
So I think EMS has a good portfolio of that you can watch and
yeah, so I
in the description
clearly
below.
stated there how much money do you really need to have in your bank account, and on top of that, you can add your source of income. Let's say if you got like business, you can add that because
Mhm.
they don't need to see 20 million in your bank account, okay? Because
So they just wanted to get,
they
yeah,
will
they just wanted to
question
get
that
the
as well.
impression that you can live and study
Mhm.
without the 20 hours.
It's not
They just
about
want the
the amount of money, as long as you have
money.
the means and you have the minimum fund there, that is enough for you to
True.
survive. That's fine. You don't really have to put. I saw like this was way back 3 years ago. Like someone showed like 20 million and then he got rejected. It's not about the money because they will also double
True.
check how are you able to get this amount of money if you're just working in the Philippines. You
Mhm.
know how
True.
much you're making in the Philippines, and in this time,
True.
like in time period, you won't be able to get this money. If this is something that you have inherited, show some documents,
Supporting document.
supporting
So
documents.
I think there's one question here that's I will just touch base on this first question that I come across with. So there's one question saying that what if I have a relative that would shelter me in the duration of my study? So that is also a good way onto in offsetting the expenses.
Mm-hmm.
However, you need to support that. So there should be a letter from the host that you will
Yeah.
be staying at their place. You need to present your relationship. In my case, we I draw a family tree. And then when you get and when the visa officer gets back to your study plan, oh, she explained that this is from her cousin that
Mm-hmm.
paid the amount that she borrowed. Oh, who is the cousin? So the the visa officer will now go back to the supporting document. Oh, this is the cousin. This
Mm-hmm.
is the family tree. Oh, the cousin is a nurse also in the UK, and this is how much she's earning. Ah, that is why she can
Mm-hmm.
pay this amount.
So if you guys want to know what would be the documents needed if you're having a sponsor, I will have the link in my description box about sponsorship. It will be down there. So are we now moving on to the next topic?
Mm,
I don't know if we forgot something, but I believe Dexter already explained it well when it comes to having sponsorship. Attach your documents and like a lot of documents that you think that it will help you to prove your financial capabilities, you know. And then like
Oh,
if
and I think you mentioned in your other video
mhm.
to include your bank statement, bank
Yeah,
certificate.
yes, there are some
So
people. Mhm,
in my case, I included a year of my bank statements, a year of my credit card statement, and then the latest bank certificate.
mhm,
Because
mhm,
in that way, I'm not just showing the my spending history. I'm also showing my income and my payment history. So in your case, guys, if you're about to start in processing your study permit, you should also open a bank account if you haven't had any bank account yet,
mhm,
because the longer the tenure of your bank, the more credible it is for them.
mhm,
Because if people see that, huh, they only have this bank account 2 months ago or a month ago,
uh-huh.
something is fishy here.
And for me, like if you think that your bank account, you don't have a bank account, let's say, I
Mm-hmm.
would say open the GIC investment
Yeah,
instead
true.
and pay the tuition fee. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to show the bank statement.
Statement.
Yeah.
So you will just so you can just bypass the statement by just providing
Yes.
this bank certificate
Yeah.
with the
So
GIC.
if you
But the
think, yeah, if,
however, however,
mhm.
the cons with that one is you will be mandated to take up IELTS.
No, you're talking about SDS.
Oh, sorry, SDS, sorry,
I'm talking
GIC,
about
GIC.
regular stream, a regular application, but your finance would be like a SDS approach. You're going to have a
Mhm.
GIC and pay off your 1 year tuition fee, and then boom, you're done. You don't have to show your financial
Statements.
statements. But if you have one, show them. But if you think that that will cause a bit of problem,
Yeah,
then
it would be a red flag. Then go ahead with
yeah,
the GIC.
yeah,
Yeah.
that will be our opinion. So
Because for
if
me, in my case, I am pretty much confident with my funds that time because
yeah,
my bank account is more than 2 years old,
me
and I have a
too.
very clear flow of money.
Hmm.
And I think you have. I think in my case, I also have like income from my apartment
Yeah,
that I need to explain as well.
I remember when I like put when I explain my financial capabilities, I explain that I always save. I showed them my Philippine bank account in Dubai. I included remittances.
Me too. Me
So
too.
if you can get like
True.
remittances receipt, compile everything and show them you send money to the Philippines.
Mhm.
That's how you.
Yeah, just I mean, like in general, just show the visa officer that you have a good command in money.
Yes.
Yeah,
You have to convince them that you were saving, you
true.
have you're responsible enough
Self-sufficient, financially self-sufficient.
and you're responsible when it comes to
Yes, and
money.
you're responsible when it comes to handling money. I'm going to ask all of the incoming cash. Because
Mm.
incoming cash, if it's salary, it's clearly says in the bank statement salary. But if
Tell
there
them,
are other
yeah.
deposit or big incomes that came into your account, if those are like the bigger average
Yes.
than the usual, explain.
Yeah,
And
let's say
once you explain, supporting
yes.
documents.
For example, I think this is Ivy's case. Ivy got like a huge amount of money from the company. It's like I think it's a bonus. Okay,
Bonus.
you get a bonus
Bonus.
every year. So like you have to show them the payslip and
Yeah, for
then
me too. I
stating
have the
that you got
payslip.
a bonus. You know, you have like where did you get this bunch of money? You have to explain it,
True.
put a supporting document. Yeah. And also like if you just quickly check your bank statement, if you see like some loopholes, back it up with
Explain.
explanation. Always don't
And
assume that,
supporting.
yeah, don't assume that
Yes.
the immigration would understand this. No, you have to explain
True.
it. Do you want to start with plan of study or home ties? Home ties is
They
important.
actually, I mean, like for me, home ties and the plans after studies are directly
They're all
correlated
in
with
one.
each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are directly correlated with each other. So it's
Mm-hmm.
easier for you to jump from explaining home ties
Mm-hmm.
and plans after studies
Yeah.
in one paragraph. Because say for example in my case, I clearly mentioned there that I'm planning that I am studying because I wanted to get a promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And after I get a promotion, I told them that because I still have an active
Mm-hmm.
uh, contract with my company, and even though I'll be studying in Canada, it is already approved by the
Mm-hmm.
company that I will be applying in studying in Canada and get back to Qatar and
Mm-hmm.
then continue my contract.
Okay.
Because
So
I
yeah.
mentioned there that it's a close contract. So
So
say if I got back to Qatar, I can only work with them until the expiration of that
so
contract.
that I think that will be the part where it says in the refusal letter that will be the employment prospect,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So the immigration officer wanted to see if you take this program, would you get any jobs? You know?
Yeah. Always make sure that your home ties is a home ties is
Yeah.
always the Philippines and not somewhere else.
Yes. This is especially for
Filipino
overseas
workers.
workers that didn't stay in their home country
Hmm.
for a while
Countries.
because they will think that you will also stay here and do the same.
True, true. That will give them the impression that if she will just get back to Saudi Arabia just to work, what's the difference of her staying here?
Yeah, and also
So
like
in my
what's the
case,
chances, right?
yeah, what's the chances of her doing it to
Mm-hmm.
Canada as well?
Yeah,
Because like
so
of course we all know that student pathway is just like a stepping stone for a PR,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So in my case, I what you call this? I intertwined
Mm-hmm.
the home ties and what's next after studying into
Yeah.
Canada. If I ever going to finish my program on 2018, I can go back to my company,
Mm-hmm.
serve the remaining of my contract, and after that, I can go back to the Philippines and put
Yeah.
up my own business.
Yeah.
That is how I did that.
Yeah, if you're like going back to any countries, always mention two. It could be like let's say Qatar,
Mhm.
and then you always go back to your home country.
And my manager mentioned there in the letter that uh, I will be going back to my position after
Mhm.
my study in Canada
Yeah.
because they will be needing me for the expansion of the
Mhm.
company. My study plan is for me is very cohesive
Yeah.
and it's very strong because
Mhm.
of that. So if you haven't had any work experience abroad, it's much easier for you to explain because you have nowhere else to go back but the
Yes.
Philippines.
It,
It's
yeah,
easier.
for yeah, overseas workers, it's kind of hard, and that's one of
Yeah, it's kind
the
of hard. That
main
is why there's high. That's why there's high rate of refusal for
rate.
overseas Filipino
Yes,
worker
because of
because
us,
their
we
travel histories and like
we
are they
work
gonna go back to the
outside.
Philippines?
Mhm.
What are the chances of them leaving Canada if they have yeah,
Yeah.
you get the point.
And also, like, if you're claiming something that you will have a prospective employers,
Work
always back it up with documents. We always say
with
that.
documents. Yeah.
Saying something, reference it,
Mhm.
always have that document,
So
okay?
just give them the impression and the projection that after you finish your study in Canada, you are not gonna stay in Canada, and there is something more waiting ahead of you
Yes.
after Canada.
Yeah. And I wanted to add one thing in home ties. If you have properties, attach your documents of your
Hmm.
property.
Yes, those are, because those are, if you have properties, yes, if you have properties or businesses, those can be proof
Like,
of funds
mhm,
or home
home
ties,
ties, like two in one. And then,
two and
like,
one.
your family. This will be a nice topic as well.
True.
Always get this question. Am I going to bring my
Only to
family,
no.
or
The question is, are we going to apply as one, or are we
yes.
going to apply first as a student and then apply my family
Mm.
afterwards? What is your point? What is your
My point
side
of
on this
view
one?
on that, because I have seen, like, this will be based on personal experience and like what I have seen before during our time 2017.
Hmm.
Most people in Dubai, they always get rejection letter because they applied as a family. They don't have any home ties because, they work overseas, they
True.
stayed there as a family in Dubai. Like, they if you think that you have like little home tie in the Philippines, don't bring your
True.
family, your son
So I mean, like,
or
for what you call this? Because
yet.
they say that there's no
I
different.
wanna
I
be
mean, like,
clear on that. Don't
yeah,
bring them yet.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, there is this one comment that it's just the same. If I mean, like, it's just the same. What's the difference between just applying as one and applying first as the
Mm.
student permit and then bring your family there after? My attack on that one is it's safer for you to focus first on the study permit, because once you focus first on your study permit, all of the documents that you need are just study permit, only
Mm-hmm.
related to study permit.
Yes.
And if you will focus first on that one and you leave first your family, all of their documents, of course, should be ready. But you're focused first. You're focusing your power onto getting approved as a study permit, because applying for the open work permit uh, for your partner is easy, and there's a very
Then
high
get the
rate,
student permit.
yeah, to get approved. Then if you apply as a family, it will give them, the VO officer, the
Yeah.
impression that you're just immigrating, right? The best scenario for
Yes.
people that would apply for as one is if you have businesses in the Philippines that are
Yes.
named for you and your husband. If you have a
Yes.
lot of properties in the
Mm.
Philippines, you can just like come here as one family and you can
Yeah.
just apply as one. Why
Yeah.
not? Because those are both proof of funds and home ties. But
Mm-hmm.
if your funds is just like,
Mm-hmm.
you would just like, you better off apply first with your study permit,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that would be your ticket into getting your family after you
Mm-hmm.
get the approval. Plus
Yeah.
plus you can use the family as a home tie for
Mm.
your process for
So,
study
like,
permit.
I've read one what do you call that, GCMS. This is like a true story, okay? She was an OFW in Dubai, and she got rejection from Abu Dhabi immigration,
Yeah.
Canadian embassy. And then, like, there's one sentence on that GCMS that stating that she's going here with her family, and it's a diminishing home ties. So see,
Yes, yes,
so
true.
they see that as a diminishing home time. So we're not like just making this up, guys. So I've known someone. I know
Mm-hmm.
someone who got a rejection because of that. Just to add something on that, if you're, let's say you're going to bring your husband here, don't tell them that your husband would get a job.
Yeah,
Yes, it is
it's a
true, like you
possibility.
can work, but for me, I don't want to focus on that. Like, don't focus
True.
on getting a job because they will think that you're going to immigrate.
Hmm. True, true.
So, like, okay, if you're going to bring your husband, they will be a motivator, not,
I mean, like for me, if the husband is the main applicant, bringing the wife, it's easier to explain than
yeah,
the
because
wife
they will help
explaining why
you.
am I bringing my husband. Unless you will also tell them that I am very much scared of not bringing my husband due to chances of him cheating while I'm away.
I changed my mind.
I
But
changed
I
my
feel like
mind.
don't
I don't want to
tell
risk him
if
being away, and
if
then only to find out if I get back from Canada, she already has a mistress.
I saw this telenovela that
The
I
world
got
of the
paranoid.
marriage.
But But yeah, if you're going to mention your OWP or open work permit or your husband in your study plan, don't tell them that he's going to work while I'm studying. Just avoid that sentence, like working
True.
as much as possible.
Hmm.
Tell them that your husband will help you while you're studying. For instance, like
Hmm.
doing the dishes, the dishes, no, doing
But
the
Ems, I have a
cooking.
question because I haven't experienced it. So do
Yeah.
if you're say for example if the wife is the main applicant, does she really needs to explain? I mean, like if the husband will be applying for the open work permit, does he really need to explain why he's coming and applying
No,
for open
I'm
work permit?
talking about the OWP letter.
Yeah, open work permit. Yeah,
Yeah.
is he
But
going to
not in the
apply?
study plan. Don't mention about it.
Yeah, of
That's
course. But I mean, like, say for example, if the student permit is approved, and then the partner will be applying for the open work permit. Does the open work permit needs explanation? I
yes,
don't think
you need
so.
to have a letter, but it's like
Ah,
an love letter. I've seen one. And then like
okay. So I think I found the approach here. If the if the wife is the study permit, and then the
mm,
husband is the open work permit, I
yeah.
think it should be written in the perspective of a possessive husband, not possessive husband, but uh, the husband that would say that I can't let my wife just go alone by herself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
and
change your mind and you feel like
then just I mean
she's
like
not
just
secure.
tell it like just say that she is emotionally
She
not
is
stable without
malande.
me by her side. Yeah, I am her neutralizer.
No, like just like
No, I mean
I
like
don't
I
know
mean
how
like
to
I'm not joking.
explain
I'm not
it.
joking. It's
I,
like giving impression that you both are inseparable. Like in
yes,
your study plan, you would mention there that this will be the first time we will be apart. Blah blah blah.
apart.
It would be
Yes,
hard, but I will strive my best
yes,
to do my best so that after my program I will get back to them. That's home ties. Now for
yes,
open work permit, you will reverse that.
yes.
It
But
was like
like you
we
will
cannot
be,
live together. We cannot live without each other for a very long time.
we have this
We need each other.
realization. You know, you will
You need
say
to
that you change your mind.
reverse. Yeah, you need to reverse.
You're not lying, but
Yeah, you're not
you
lying, but
just
you're
change
just
your
eating what
mind.
you just said.
But yeah, so that's how you explain home tie. So how, did we forget anything? Okay, put your properties, put your family in there, and then what else? Part of the SOP now.
Before we drift away, I also read an SOP before. So I asked for her permission if I could mention this on our video.
Yeah.
So she has a special child that needs special care.
Ah, okay, okay.
So she actually use the child, not use the child, but she actually explained that she cannot bring the child to Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and that is why she wanted to finish her course or her program as early as she could, so she could get back to her child. For I mean, like, because a mother will not be able to live without her child for like a
Mm-hmm.
long time.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also a very strong home ties. And I also read one study plan. A very very strong home ties is that she has a very sick mother, or not a very sick mother, but a mother with Parkinson's disease.
Mm-hmm.
So she says there, like, it's a very strong statement that my parents are not getting any younger,
Mm, mhm.
and
I
I just
quickly
wanted to
mentioned that as well in my study plan about
yeah,
your
and then she
parents.
mentioned it there. It's really heart touching that she mentioned there that I wanted to finish my Canadian study just
Mm,
so I could bring them proud. I could bring them proud. I could bring them. Uh, I could make them.
make them proud.
I could make them proud because they're not
Yeah.
getting any younger, and I wanted to be under. I wanted to be by their side on their sunset years.
Oh, sunset
That's how she
years.
says it. And I'm like, oh my god, approved.
Approve. MMK award.
Yeah,
But
that is what we're
yes.
saying, guys. Use
Uh,
your words properly,
mm,
and then on your home ties, be dramatic.
a little bit.
Not a little bit, be dramatic. And then afterwards, reverse that dramatic, being dramatic for the open work permit. Make it
Do it
more
like an
dramatic.
action.
Yeah, make it more dramatic on your open
Make
work
it
permit.
like
I can't live without
provinciano.
him. I can't live without him. She should be with me.
It's like like suspense. But
Okay,
yeah, so
what's
now
the next topic?
we're done with home times. I hope you guys getting some information from this video. But but next one will be plan after studies. For me, plan after study is the most important part of the study plan or SOP. This is like the longest explanation I had in my SOP. But my
Okay.
second page was study plan after study and my home ties. So like for me, I'll tell my insight first. So like when I explain my study plan, I started with like I'm going back to the Philippines after study. After
Mm-hmm.
I finish my program, I'm going back to the Philippines. And then the next one would be what would be your employment prospects,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as what Dexter said, you got Qatar employments, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I quickly mentioned that having this international credential will give
Mm-hmm.
me that will give like higher
Upper hand.
chances of getting managerial position or like more international companies will be interested, right? Your
I also mentioned that one too.
Yeah, so quickly mention that. And then I also mentioned about after study, I also mentioned business. Okay, I'm planning to put up a business related to digital industry. So
Mm-hmm.
if like for me, this is only for me, okay? If you're planning to have if you're going to include the business as your goal after studying,
Mm-hmm.
if you can quickly make a business plan, that will be nice, right? Having a business plan, you're not just making this up. If you want to be realistic, have a business plan. I know like some people they don't have a business plan and stuff, but if you want to be realistic, have a business plan. And then
True.
like what else? I'll add something else later, but can you explain yours, Dexter?
Hmm.
Can you explain your part?
And in my case, I mentioned about the contract that I had in Qatar. That if I'm going to get back to Qatar, then I would be, what you call this? I would be working with my same company, and the company is doing an expansion in 2 years' time, which is also in line with the timeline after my study. And I also mentioned there that that my after I have my Canadian education, it's just not limited to my company,
Mm-hmm.
because as what I mentioned, Canadian education is
Yes.
highly regarded everywhere else. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not just in Qatar, but also in my home country. So,
Mm-hmm.
and also I wanted to put up my own business. And if I'm going to put up my own business, at least I should have the basic knowledge, and not just like any basic knowledge, but it's an
Mm-hmm.
internationally gained basic knowledge. So
Mm-hmm.
after studying in Canada, I would be looking forward into uh, finishing the contract, and then
Uh-huh.
after that going back to the Philippines and putting up my own business since I took
Yeah.
up business.
Yeah.
So that's
And
it.
like part of my plan after study, so having a business, getting a good job, or having a higher position, aiming for that, right? So you will be
Mm-hmm.
able to do that now once you have your credential. And then I also mentioned in the business plan, this is what I recently discovered, that here in Canada they're very environmental friendly, right?
True.
So they like something like, if you're having a business plan, make sure that it will be environmental, like sustainable, right?
Environmentally responsible.
Yeah, like it's sustainable. So if you can come up with like like unique business plan that you think that, oh, this gonna they will think that this is gonna be a good idea. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like a usual business. Hey, I'm gonna open a grocery store, that's it. No, you have
True.
to come up with be innovative or something,
Mm-hmm. True.
and include, and it should be current in this situation right now. For example, you can relate it to the virus that is happening now. How would you help, right? Think about like what is happening around you, not just focus
in
on
my
your own
in
goal.
my part in my part, I also mentioned in my study plan that once I get back to the Philippines, I wanted to put up a call center,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the call center are owned by foreigners in the Philippines, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to give back to my countrymen,
Mm-hmm.
wherein the beneficiaries are of course my fellow men. And I also mentioned there that the call center that I will be putting up are call centers of the NGOs.
Mm-hmm.
NGOs. So that would make it a little more competitive, because those NGOs, no NGOs, non-profitable organization,
Mm-hmm.
NPOs in Canada and other else are mostly environment and human rights,
Yes.
there's call centers. So
Yes.
those are really, really good business plan approach.
Yes. So like think about something. You just don't like
Be very
say
specific
something like
in, yeah, be very specific in your
in your
business plan,
business.
because
Yeah.
if it's really vague, then if it's like you're pitching something to someone and you will say, oh, you know what, this will make your skin lighter, and then they'll,
Yes.
yeah, okay, like for how many days? And then it's like, I don't know, but it will make you lighter, something like
Yeah.
that.
So be specific, and it's something like you're
Precise.
selling something, and then
Hmm.
like make sure that it will help not just you, but as well as the country itself, right? Your
True.
home country, how would they
Hmm.
benefit from it, right? That
Agree.
would be a good employment prospect.
Prospect.
And then like what else? So the
Or just say,
environment.
that you don't want to be an employee for the rest of your
Yes.
life,
Yeah.
and that you wanted to be an employer, and at the same time being an employer is a privilege because you can help other else, and you're
Mhm.
generating job, and you're helping your
Yes,
country's
generating
economy.
jobs. Yeah.
Mention that.
Generate jobs to your fellow countrymen and help the economy, right?
Economy, yeah.
Yeah, so and also like be irrelevant to what is happening right now. What will be like the businesses that you think that is gonna be booming or it's
True,
gonna help
true.
the country, right? So
Mhm.
that's very important in your study plan and your
I
plan
think
after
for
your study.
information technology, I think you mentioned earlier that technology is evolving very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, if you are going to relate that one, I mean, connect that one to business, you can also say that who knows that in the near future, most of the what you call this, the business personnel or the office personnel can be offshore.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
probably your HR can be just on the other side of the country or the other side
Yeah.
of the world, like
Yeah.
virtual, so something like that.
So let them know what would be the benefits. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like
that
be
will be
unique.
your, yeah, needs to be unique. So that's how you explain your plan after study. And always mention go back to your country. If you're going to Qatar or UAE, that's fine, but your end goal is in your country.
So that's your final destination.
Final destination. And
Okay,
then the last one that we're
closing.
going to talk about would be the closing.
Mm-hmm. I think you have a mine is very dramatic. I mean, to
I
say the
got like
least.
dramatic a little bit, but
Yeah, for me too. It's so this is the part where you will just as much as possible
big.
use all your use all your resources to tug the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I think I said there that in relation to my home ties, I
Mm-hmm.
told them that I've been working abroad for like 5 or 7 years, and uh studying in Canada would add up another 2 more years. And my parents are no longer getting younger, are not getting younger. So I wanted to be by their side. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
said. And I wanted to see my siblings grow up with
Mm-hmm.
me, supervising and helping my parents supervising them. And that would also bring honor to them
Mm-hmm.
once I get back.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, I think I said there, you guys always use like sayings
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in it's actually very helpful. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I said there that I believe in a saying that says
Mm-hmm.
if you believe you can.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not like that. Wait,
Where did you get that
no,
saying?
no. I said in
Quotation,
the saying that
quotation,
no, I said
quote
it in
of
the
the
say
day.
no, no. I said in the saying, I quoted the saying that because he believed
Mhm,
he can.
mhm.
Shit, I forgot. No,
But yeah,
just no. The saying goes like because he believes he can, and that's why he did it.
uh like for me, I use the human right because I know that Canada is
And no,
very,
I also mentioned there that education is an investment,
yeah,
and I'm
investment, and
investing
it's
in
like
myself.
human right, like.
And that is something, yeah. And I told and I said there that it is something that no one can take away from you,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and that is also one of the investment that do not depreciate.
mm-hmm. That's true. I
Mhm.
mean,
So
that's true, right?
yeah,
Like in your closing, you need to have like a strong wordings, and
yeah,
that's
strong
your
words, poetic
final
words. Yeah,
paragraph, okay? So like,
because and then my last paragraph is like I would like to close this letter by saying thank you for
yes,
taking the time to read this
if they
and
did.
hearing and seeing I really said that and seeing a glimpse of the future that awaits from me
Mhm,
if you ever granted an approval into
mhm.
my application, and that
Yeah.
would actually help me spearhead
Mhm.
into attaining my dreams.
Hmm. We have pretty similar closing remarks, and
Mhm.
like for me, I just focus on human rights because I know that Canada is like they're very not. I don't know how to explain it, but you know that they're very humanitarian something. They have like humanitarian law here in Canada, and they believe on that. race like racism is um low here in Canada. It's not that dramatic or something. So I use that
Mhm.
word that education is a human right, and like you're giving a chance for people that will have decent jobs. What else did I say? Like I have it here. Yeah, so like I said, like thousands of people here in the world is being denied of having a good education, and I know that Canada will grant me that that right to have
Mhm.
decent job, like good quality education. So I don't know, I just like play around on that topic, the human right. Education is a human right, and like other human rights, it cannot be taken for granted. Across the world, there are thousands of people being denied not only a right but opportunities. I bold
Opportunity.
all the important words in my SOP. That's like bolded.
Mhm.
And then a fair chance to get decent jobs, escape poverty, and to support their families and to develop their beloved country. I know that
Mhm.
Canada aims to help young people gain access to quality education. And then yeah, so that's how
Close.
started my closing remarks, and then said the same thing as you, that
Mhm.
with strong determination and an ending perseverance to make this dream into reality, I am making this decision in line with the opportunity presented to me, and then blah 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 blah.
Oh
But
my God, I think I think in that part that presented to me, like the opportunity presented to me, I think I also have that one.
yeah.
So yeah, so guys,
Like,
so there are people who are asking for copies of study plan,
okay, so we're going to
and I
discuss
think you
this
need to I think you need to refrain from doing it because first, study plan are very
personal,
confidential, personal as
confidential.
well. And at the same time, you might be, instead of the study plan helping you, will just make you copy paste,
Hmm.
do copy paste, and
Don't
make
copy
and
paste.
guys, people don't do it because here in Canada they have a software that
So you can
they will
check.
just feed that document and they can see if it is
Yeah.
copied somewhere else.
So refrain doing that. Okay, so I hope you guys find this video interesting and very helpful. For me, it's helpful. Okay, many
Yeah,
people
and we would just
would
like to
benefit
reiterate
from
again.
this
We
video.
just like to reiterate again that this is just based on our personal experience,
Yes.
and you can still ask for second opinion somewhere else. And the more opinions you get, the better. And we are just like the guides.
Yeah, and also like if you have something in mind that you think that it will be benefit, you can just comment it
Yes.
below. Like
Yeah,
that will help other
you
people
can
too.
add up to you can correct us if we're wrong. No hurt feelings.
Yeah,
And
if you think that
you
we're
can
saying
help
something
people as
you're
well.
not
So
you
yeah,
don't believe
we
in, comment it below and justify it. So people would think,
uh,
okay, makes sense, right? So
agree.
again, guys, so this video is like super long.
Hello guys, so I hope you guys find that helpful, but before we finish the video, I would like to answer the frequently asked questions posted by our SE members. So there's one for Anisha Soriano. She's asking about the Canadian tourist visa. So she was granted to have a tourist visa, and as well as her partner, and she's asking if that would affect her application. For me, that won't matter because as long as if you went here and you didn't overstay, then that's okay. I know some people that went here first as a tourist and they were successful when they applied for their student permit, and I believe they mentioned in their study plan that they went here first and they love Canada and they fell in love in this country, and that's why they decided to study here in Canada. Some of the questions posted have been answered in our videos. I'm not gonna answer that again, so I'm going to skip some questions here. So there's another question from Christine Ventoso Farouk. I think we didn't cover this one. Like, what will be the ideal pages for the study plan? For me, mine was 2.5 pages. It was 5 at first, and I tried to lower that down and make it direct and concise, and it was around 2.5 pages. I believe Dexter had the same as well. So for me, it really depends. There won't be a standard pages. So the more experience and the more life and work experience you have, the longer your SOP. And I know someone that got like more than 5 pages and they got the proof. But for me, having a direct and concise SOP would be the best option. Next one for Norman Hamza. How are we able to defend ourselves through SOP in taking courses seemingly not connected to our degree? I think we already answered that in our first video. Melanie Ramos Garcia. Oh, I'm gonna talk in Tagalog. I'm sorry guys, because this one is Tagalog. I'm going to translate it. So, yung tuition fee po ba ng second year dapat isama sa SOP? Baka po kasi hanapin ng visa officer saan yung pera nitong pambayad ng second year. Okay, so she was asking if you need to include the second year tuition fee and mention that in your study plan. So for me, you don't really need to mention that, but there are some people that show the expenses and cost of living for the entire duration of the study. You can do that as well. If you have the money, show them, okay? But for me, I didn't tell them. In my case, I have enough money to cover the entire duration, and I told them that. So it's recommended if you have more money, that's good, but they only require the minimum fund, which is 1 year tuition fee and cost of living. And if you have additional money, that will be great. If you can mention that in your study plan that you have passive income, and if you have anything that you can liquidate, then do that. Mention that in your study plan. Can you please make a step-by-step process of ways to apply for student visa through regular stream? So guys, I have that in my blog, in my mentorship website. Please check my description box. I have that there. Okay, Sheena Lim, okay lang po ba na ang sagutin or ilagay na lang po sa SOP ay yung ground of refusal? Okay, for resubmission, okay. So I'm gonna translate it. So I have to translate every single thing. Okay, this is a Filipino group, Facebook group, so I try to accommodate everyone. That's why I'm speaking English in my channel, but yeah, trying to translate it in respect to our other subscribers, okay? Okay lang po ba na sagutin o ilagay na lang po sa SOP yung ground of refusal? So she's saying that if it's okay to, it's so hard to translate. Is it okay to just answer the refusal point when you're going to resubmit your application if you got refusal first? So for me, yes. Always focus on the refusal points. You don't have to go back to, like, let's say your refusal points are more focused on your finances or travel history, then focus on that. Explain everything as you can, and don't don't focus on other areas. Refusal, focus on that, and don't the other areas won't matter anymore, okay, because they already checked your application. So for me, focus on the refusal points. So this is from Kevin Anderson, Sarah Mac Guzman. They always thought that I'm a man. Kailan po release ng videos? He's asking about the release of these videos. I'm sorry guys, took me so long to upload the third part because I got burnout. I can't do 3 consecutive videos. It was my bad. I told you guys that I will do this 3 consecutive days, but on the third day I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to die. I can't do that. So now I'm gonna stick on my schedule with that, which is the every single week, every Sunday. I can't do 3 consecutive videos. So Kevin, it's done. I'm gonna post it in a bit. This the part 3, but part 2 and 1, it's already posted. Jim Jason, my friend, waiting for this video. I know you're waiting. Epi Madukdok, wala po bang nakasaad sa SOP sa student directs? I don't understand his question, but wala po bang nakasaad sa SOP na student direct stream? Need pa rin ba talaga yung for SDS? Oh! He's asking if you need a study plan if you apply for SDS. For me, it's always recommended to add the study plan, regardless if it's a regular stream or SDS. There's no harm of adding an SOP. Okay, it's always good to have one. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you guys find this video helpful. If you like it, share it or give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys to the next one. Bye guys.